Theresa May has not ruled out paying billions to the EU to secure British banks access to the single market, and nor should she. In fact, she should guarantee it. The Prime Minister has assured Nissan that its Sunderland plant will be shielded from the impact of Brexit, and the same special protection should be given to the city. The UK's financial services sector, with the City of London at its heart, employs over 1 million people and paid over £66 billion in tax last year. We must defend these jobs and these funds from the blows that are sure to come from our departure from the EU. We're only beginning to see the economic reality of Brexit. Its rising food prices, a plunging pound and warnings about sliding living standards. British banks are essential to our nation's well-being, and if we have to buy their protection, so be it.
Now, we agreed about Brexit, but I couldn't disagree with you more about the banks.
OK.
Listen, so what you're saying is...
Good, Rachel.
Wait, Brexit doesn't mean Brexit. We can pick and choose what we want to keep, what we want to save, what we're going to have to pay for in order to keep sacred and money generating for the GDP of our economy, which is obviously the financial sector provides 11%. I mean, it's an absolute nonsense to say that...
so you want to see...
No, can I just give you some figures?
Just my blood's boiling a bit.
I know the city is the golden goose. No, but none of us want to see our GDP crash.
Which it will do.
The city doesn't have passporting rights. But you know what? I think if hard Brexit is going to apply to anybody, I want it to apply to the bankers. During 2007 to 2010, guess how much money the Treasury spent on the financial crash and supporting the banks? I'm going to tell you, 1.62 trillion.
Yeah.
That is equivalent to our entire national debt. OK, so what you're saying is let's carry on spending billions and billions and billions in supporting
by the way, it's 7 billion.
This sector.
Yeah. 7
and everyone
billion.
else can go hang. Our children...
Because that's the cost.
Let's save the bankers and everyone else can go hang and just make their own way in Brexit.
Remember, what was the tax figure we took in? Was
66 billion.
Well, hang on, if we can spend... how do you get that figure?
So that was from the National Statistics Office. The figure that Theresa May is suggesting, the contribution we need to make is 7 billion, and just the tax receipts alone, forget about the million jobs that we're going to be saving, is 65 billion. So, to me, as a business, would I spend 7 billion to save 65? Difficult question, Rachel.
I'm sorry, but this is why it was stupid to vote Brexit. This is why Brexit was a terrible idea, and people who supported it were being idiotic, because we are dependent on the city and financial services. We are interconnected. We do live in a globalised economy. We need passporting. We need foreign transactions to happen easily. We have voted for something that's going to jeopardise that. And I think it's a massive shame, and it's going to cause huge economic problems. But I don't think we can just subsidise the city and get around it. Because
I don't care whether we voted or not.
The consequences of the ridiculously bad choices.
The bottom line is, you're sitting here saying, let me see the risk of 1 million jobs, the one sector in this country that keeps our economy alive, keeps our health service, our police force, keeps the country ticking over. You're quite happy to sit there and watch it collapse.
Well, manufacturing is worth more to the economy than
But she just said she's going to save Sunderland, the Nissan plant. So I don't care what she does. What I'm saying
is... Who's next to be saved?
Sorry,
fruit pickers? I mean,
and if we can,
journalists?
Nick, if we can save the fruit pickers, we should.
James,
we've got to eat.
The people who led us out of Brexit, by the way, it's 1.162 trillion was spent on supporting the banks, not 1.6. Let's not fall out over a mere 0.4 trillion. But we were told that we would have a glorious future. Britannia would sail again. We'd on our own. Hey-ho for the open seas. We can do it on our own. We can't say all that and then spend £6 billion on the financial sector. The financial. It's like when the bankers said, we'll move to Zurich, we'll move to Frankfurt. I just think...
They won't go.
I think we should call everyone's bluff.
Can I just, Michelle,
let the city survive on its own.
Can I just ask, have you prepared 2 arguments for James? Have you prepared
one? I genuinely...
Because I wonder whether it ran in the family.
Michelle, you're in business. You've probably got an intelligent view on this.
But I've also done what Afua describes as idiotic, which I don't like that sentiment, and that's the problem.
Brexit.
I voted Brexit, and it frustrates me when people like you...
Do you regret
it? No, call it stupid and idiotic. We're all entitled to our own opinions. Most of us made those decisions based on our own reasons and research and all the rest of it.
Should we go like the banks again?
So my question to you is, when you say you want to pay billions, into what? What are you suggesting? You want us to be part of the EEA? What's your solution?
I think that what Theresa May is saying is, in order for us to have access to the EU by our banks, the cost of doing that is going to cost us $7 billion a year to do that. So, let me finish. So the answer is simple. If we don't pay the $7 billion, the financial services sector does not access the entire European financial market.
See, I just... So when we talk about the banking sector, we're talking about the banking sector, that's quite a... The banking sector is various different subsectors, as you're going to know yourself. So it's not as simple as saying, when you say passporting rights are essential, they're not essential for all of the subsectors of the banking industry. They're not. So I don't know if you look at some of the insurances, for example, it's not. Is it essential for banking? Yes. Asset management? Yes, probably less so. Insurance? Less so again. So it's not a case of saying, we must have this, we must spend this money, or 1.1 million jobs are going to go. It's not as simple as that.
I'm not saying they're going to go, but why would I want to take a risk?
Because
why would I want to risk the sector in this country that we are dependent upon for our taxation? It's 11% of our tax receipts.
Yeah, but hang on a second, because when you actually look, I think it's insurance, it's something like 28% of the export in the insurance sector is EU-based. So this is a big... Saying that all this financial sector is so dependent on the EU, I'm not sure I necessarily believe that. When you say, why do we need to do this? We voted Brexit, like it or loathe it, that's the situation that we did. And now what we need to do is figure out how we're going to do this. It's not just a simple case.
So you're just saying, let's just sit here and destroy our economy.
No, that's not what I suggested. What I suggested was stepping back, not bunching it all up and going, this whole banking sector. It might be an important sector, but it is a loathed sector by many people. This banking sector is responsible, in many people's eyes, for the crash in 2007 and 8. They don't like these bankers. To call Brexit voters stupid and idiotic is playing it, and then to say, let's talk about bankers and bailing them out. A lot of people don't like that industry. It's gone from an economic issue to a political issue, and people need to be very careful about how they're perceived going forward.
I didn't call Brexit voters stupid, but I did call it an idiotic decision, and I respect your right to make a decision that I disagree with. Of course I do, and I also agree with you. I think if you're going to vote for Brexit, which I think was a mistake, then you have to live with the consequences, and I don't think you can just piecemeal choose which industries you're going to support and which you're going to let fall apart. We have to live with the consequences of the decision we've made. I think it was a mistake. I think it's going to be destructive, and now we have to let it roll its consequences.
I'm honestly
Otherwise,
shocked,
we're sending a message that you can support anything and not have to live with the...
Why don't we just sit on the
fence? You've almost got me with your sums. The thing, again, in fact, your sums you have got me, I'll be honest, I didn't realise them, so well done with those. But what are we going to say when the tech sector comes along and they want to have special privileges, or the insurance that Michelle mentioned? If we do it for one... So in the end, we never did vote Brexit, and it's going to be an unholy mess. Surely you see that argument. You set a very dangerous precedent, James.
I think, Nick, I think that, you know, all I can tell you is, to me, running a country is like running a business. Lots of CEOs make mistakes. They make decisions that they regret. I think there is nothing wrong in sitting here today and saying we are now facing a crisis, that if our banking system doesn't work, we have to bail it out. Let me finish.
What if they say, it's not 7, we want 14. Actually, we want 25.
OK,
you're a businessman, you know.
It's maths, isn't it? So if I'm going to risk 65 billion of taxation that I could see dwindling down, and I've got to plug 7 billion gap, I'd plug it. If I had agriculture and I've got to save those migrant workers because without them we can't eat, I would plug that.
Running a country is not like running a business. If this were a business, you would never have left the EU in the first place, because it's not in your financial interest.
That is true, Afua. It's going to cost us 20 billion euros just to leave. And now we've got to add in the 7 billion we're going to be spending to keep the city sweet. It's an absolute joke. I know when we're going to have 66 billion... lost to our revenues. The whole thing's a disaster. If this was a company, the CEO would reverse the decision or be sacked.
Well, he did, didn't he? He immediately resigned.
We're not going to agree, are we? So let's agree to disagree, I think.
Well, I'm going to agree with myself then.
Yeah, there you go.